Captain Jake Morrison sat at the bar inside New Haven Station. The drink in his hand was cold and tasted like metal. Around him, dozens of different alien species moved through the crowded space. Some had 4 arms, others had skin like rocks, and a few floated in the air without touching the ground. Morrison was tired. His ship had just finished a 3-month patrol in the outer systems. Now he and his crew could rest for a week before their next mission. The Earth Defense Force did not give them much time off. His team sat nearby. Lieutenant Amy Brooks was reading reports on her tablet. She always worked, even during breaks. Sergeant Tony Miller was telling jokes to anyone who would listen. Private Lisa White stared out the big window at the stars. Morrison noticed the other aliens in the bar kept looking at them. This happened everywhere humans went. They were still new to the galaxy. Only 5 years had passed since Earth joined the galactic community. Most aliens had never seen humans before. A group of blue-skinned soldiers sat in the corner. Morrison recognized them as Zenthari warriors. Everyone knew about the Zenthari. They were some of the best fighters in the galaxy. Their blue scales could stop laser shots, and they could see in complete darkness. They had won more battles than any other species. One of the Zenthari kept staring at Morrison. The alien was older than the others. Scars covered his face and arms. His eyes never looked away from the human table. "Captain," Amy said quietly, "that Zenthari soldier has been watching us for 20 minutes. Morrison nodded. He had noticed too. "Maybe he is just curious. We are still new around here." The scarred Zenthari stood up. He walked slowly toward their table. His friends watched him go but did not follow. The bar got quieter as he moved. Other aliens stopped talking and turned to watch. Morrison tensed. He did not know what the alien wanted. Zenthari were proud warriors. They did not usually talk to other species unless they had to. The alien stopped next to their table. Up close, Morrison could see more scars. This Zenthari had seen many battles. "Human soldiers," the alien said. His voice was deep and rough. "May I sit with you?" Morrison was surprised. Zenthari never asked permission for anything. They took what they wanted and fought anyone who disagreed. "Of course," Morrison said. He pointed to an empty chair. "Please join us." The Zenthari sat down. He raised his hand toward the bartender. "Drinks for the humans," he called out. "Strong ones." Amy looked confused. Tony stopped telling his joke. Lisa turned away from the window. They all stared at the alien. "I am Vextar," the Zenthari said. "I have served in the galactic military for 30 years. I have fought in 12 major wars." "Captain Jake Morrison," Jake replied. "Earth Defense Force. These are my officers." Vextar nodded at each human. His eyes were different from other Zenthari Morrison had met. These eyes looked tired and worried. "You humans have been busy," Vextar said. "News travels fast in military circles. We hear about your battles." Morrison frowned. "Which battles? Most of our missions are classified." "The Kepler Rebellion," Vextar said. "The mining station conflicts, the pirate raids near Vega Prime." Morrison felt cold. Those operations were secret. How did this alien know about them? "I should not know these things," Vextar continued. "But soldiers talk. We always talk about the things that scare us." "Scare you?" Amy asked. "What do you mean?" Vextar was quiet for a moment. The drinks arrived. He took a long sip before speaking again. "I fought with humans 6 months ago," he said. "During the Kepler Rebellion, your Colonel Ben Harper requested Zenthari support." Morrison remembered hearing about Kepler. It was supposed to be a small operation. Some miners had refused to follow galactic law. Earth sent a few ships to restore order. The whole thing should have taken a few days. "We thought it would be easy," Vextar continued. "The rebels had old weapons and no training. My unit was supposed to help with crowd control." He paused and looked around the bar. Other aliens were still watching them. But something went wrong. The rebels had more weapons than we expected. They had prepared for months. When we arrived, they were ready for a real fight. Morrison leaned forward. This was not in any report he had read. My commander wanted to retreat, Vextar said. Standard procedure when facing superior numbers. We would regroup and attack with more forces. That makes sense, Morrison said. Your Sergeant Lisa Kane disagreed. Morrison did not know that name, but he nodded anyway. She said her squad would hold the position while we called for backup. I told her it was suicide. 10,000 rebels against 50 humans. Vextar took another drink. His hand shook slightly. She smiled at me. Actually smiled. Then she said something I will never forget. She said, "This is where it gets fun." The bar seemed even quieter now. Morrison could hear his own heartbeat. What happened next changed everything I thought I knew about war, Vextar said. Your humans did not retreat. They did not surrender. They became something else entirely. He looked directly at Morrison. His eyes were wide with something that looked like fear. They became more dangerous as the fighting got worse. When normal soldiers would break and run, your people got stronger. They fought like the battle was personal, like each rebel had hurt their families. Morrison did not know what to say. This sounded like standard human military training to him. The rebellion lasted 3 weeks instead of 6 months, Vexatar continued. Not because you had better weapons or more ships, because your soldiers would not stop fighting. They would not give up no matter what happened to them. Other alien soldiers had started moving closer to their table. Morrison saw a Korthak warrior, 2 Villani officers, and something that looked like a walking tree. They all wanted to listen. Word spreads quickly in the military, Vextar said. Now every soldier in the galaxy knows about humans. We talk about you in our barracks. We share stories during long flights between systems. What kind of stories? Amy asked. Vextar looked at her for a long moment. The kind that keep us awake at night, he said. The Korthak warrior stepped closer to their table. His thick gray skin looked like stone, and his 4 arms moved like he was ready to fight. But his voice was quiet when he spoke. I was there too, the Korthak said. At Kepler Station. I saw what your people did. Morrison looked around the bar. More aliens were gathering near their table. A tall Villani officer with silver skin stood behind the Korthak. 2 small aliens that looked like insects floated in the air above them. They all wanted to hear this conversation. Sit down, Korvak, Vextar said to the Korthak. Tell them what you saw. The big alien pulled up a chair. It creaked under his weight. His 4 hands grabbed a drink from the table. I have fought in 23 battles, Korvak said. I have seen every kind of warrior in the galaxy. But I had never seen anything like your Sergeant Lisa Kane. Morrison felt strange hearing about human soldiers from aliens. These stories were not in any Earth military reports. The rebels had captured Building 7, Korvak continued. It was full of civilian workers. My unit was supposed to rescue them, but the rebels had too many guns. We could not get close. Amy leaned forward. What did Kane do? She asked for volunteers from her squad. 12 humans stepped forward. Just 12 soldiers against 300 rebels. Tony laughed. That sounds about right for human soldiers. Korvak did not laugh. His face looked serious and worried. They walked straight toward the building. No cover, no support. The rebels started shooting immediately. Plasma bolts hit 3 of your people right away. Morrison winced. Plasma weapons could burn through most armor. Any normal species would retreat, Korvak said. Wounded soldiers need medical help. The smart thing is to fall back and make a new plan. But they did not retreat, Vextar said quietly. No, Korvak agreed. The wounded humans kept fighting. One of them had plasma burns on half his body. He was still shooting while medics tried to treat him. He refused to leave the battlefield. The silver-skinned Villani officer spoke up. Her voice sounded like music, but her words were cold. I am Captain Silara, she said. I commanded air support during that battle. I watched everything from above. She moved closer to the table. Her large eyes reflected the bar lights. When the first humans got hurt, something changed in the others, she said. They became angry. Not just angry, something deeper. Morrison did not understand. Soldiers get angry in battle. That is normal. Not like this, Silara said. When my people see friends get hurt, we become more careful. We try to protect each other. Your humans became more aggressive. She paused and looked at each human at the table. They started moving faster, taking bigger risks, making choices that should have gotten them killed. Vextar nodded. I watched Kane's team split up. Each group attacked from a different direction. They were outnumbered 50-1 in each location. What happened? Lisa asked. She had been quiet until now. They won, Korvac said simply. All of them. Every single attack succeeded. Morrison felt confused. How is that possible? Because your people do not fight like the rest of us, Vextar explained. Most species have limits. When things get too dangerous, our minds tell us to stop, to find another way, to survive. Took a long drink before continuing. Humans do not have those limits. When things get dangerous, you become more dangerous. When you should retreat, you advance. When you should surrender, you attack. An old alien in the corner stood up. Morrison had never seen this species before. It looked like a walking tree, with many eyes on its branches. I am Elder Thelome, the tree alien said. Its voice sounded like wind through leaves. I have studied war for 300 years. I came to this station specifically to hear these stories about humans. The alien moved slowly toward their table, its many eyes all focused on Morrison. In all my years, I have never heard of a species like yours, Thelome said. Most civilizations fight for territory, resources, or honor. When they achieve their goals, they stop fighting. Morrison nodded. That made sense to him. But humans fight differently, Thelome continued. You fight like every battle will decide the fate of your entire species. You put everything into each conflict. Amy looked confused. We just do our job. We complete our missions. No, Vexitar said firmly. You do much more than that. He stood up and walked to the big window. Outside, stars filled the darkness of space. During the Kepler rebellion, I saw one of your soldiers get shot in the leg, Vextar said. The wound was bad. He could not walk properly. Morrison waited for the rest of the story. My medic told him to stay behind. The human agreed. But when we started the final attack, he was there with us. Limping, bleeding, but still fighting. Vexitar turned back to face the table. I asked him why he came. His leg was broken. He could have stayed safe. You know what he said? Morrison shook his head. He said his friends needed him. That was all. No talk of duty or honor. Just that his friends needed him. The bar was completely quiet now. Even the bartender had stopped working to listen. That is when I understood, Vextar said. Humans do not fight for governments or causes. You fight for each other, and you will never stop as long as your friends are in danger. Korvax 4. Hands made fists on the table. After Kepler, my unit returned to base, he said. Our commander asked for a report. I told him about the human tactics, about how they fought through injuries, about how they never gave up. Morrison waited. My commander did not believe me. He said I was exaggerating. So he called other units who had worked with humans. Korvac looked directly at Morrison. Every single report was the same. Humans who fought while wounded. Humans who refused to retreat. Humans who won battles they should have lost. Silara sat down at their table. Within a month, every military base in our sector had heard the stories, she said. Commanders started asking questions. They wanted to know how humans trained their soldiers, what drugs they used, what technology made them so effective. And what did they find? Tony asked. Nothing, Vextar said. No special training, no drugs, no advanced technology, just humans being humans. The old tree alien spoke again. That is what frightens us most, Thelome said. We can defend against better weapons or superior numbers, but we cannot defend against warriors who simply will not stop fighting. Morrison felt a chill run down his spine. He was starting to understand why these aliens looked so worried. A new voice spoke from behind Morrison. He turned to see a female alien with purple skin and 6 arms. She wore the uniform of a Galactic Council military advisor. Captain Morrison, she said. I am General Kyleth. I have been waiting to meet human officers. Morrison stood up and offered her a chair. Please join us, General. Kyleth sat down and looked around the table. Her 6 eyes studied each human carefully. I oversee military training for 12 different species, she said. For the past 6 months, I have been studying human combat methods. Amy looked interested. What did you find? Something that should not be possible, Kyleth replied. Your species breaks every rule we know about warfare. She pulled out a small device and activated it. Holographic images appeared above the table. The first image showed a battle scene. This is the Battle of Crimson Ridge, Kyleth said. 2 months ago, human forces were trapped in a canyon. Enemy forces surrounded them on all sides. Morrison recognized the battle. It had been all over the Earth news feeds. Standard military doctrine says to surrender when surrounded, Kyleth continued. The humans were outnumbered 5-1. They had no escape route. Any reasonable commander would negotiate terms. The hologram showed human soldiers in defensive positions. Enemy forces moved closer from every direction. Major Steve Collins was in command, Kyleth said. What did he do? Morrison knew the answer, but he waited for the alien to continue. He ordered his troops to attack in all directions at once, Kyleth said, simultaneously, while surrounded and outnumbered. Korvac shook his big head. Impossible. Suicide. That is what we thought too, Kyleth agreed. But watch what happened. The hologram showed human soldiers charging out of the canyon. They attacked uphill against superior numbers. It should have been a massacre. The enemy forces panicked, Kyleth said. They had never seen anything like it. Trapped soldiers attacking instead of surrendering. They broke ranks and retreated. Vextar leaned forward. I heard about this battle. The enemy commander committed suicide afterward. He could not explain how he lost. That is the problem, Kyleth said. Human tactics do not make sense. They work, but they should not work. She changed the hologram to show a different scene. This is from the Vega system incident, she said. Pirates captured a human cargo ship. Standard procedure is to negotiate for the crew's release. Morrison remembered this story too. Pirates often captured ships for ransom. Most species paid and got their people back safely. The human response team was led by Commander Rick Tyler. Kyleth continued. He did not negotiate. He did not offer money. He simply attacked the pirate base. The hologram showed a massive space station surrounded by dozens of pirate ships. The pirates sent a message, Kyleth said. They offered to release the human crew in exchange for payment. Tyler's response was recorded. She activated an audio file. Tyler's voice filled the bar. We do not negotiate with pirates. We are coming, for our people. Surrender now or face the consequences. Silara laughed, but it sounded nervous. The pirates must have thought he was bluffing. They did, Kyleth confirmed. They had 300 ships, Tyler had 12. Morrison knew how this story ended, but he let the alien tell it. Tyler's ships attacked immediately. No warning shots. No demand for surrender. They just started destroying everything. The hologram showed the battle. Human ships moved like angry wasps, hitting targets much larger than themselves. The pirates tried to use the captured humans as shields, Kyleth continued. Tyler's response shocked everyone. She paused and looked directly at Morrison. He told his crew to continue the attack. He said, and I quote, "Our people knew the risks when they signed up. Complete the mission." Tony whistled softly. Cold, but effective. The pirates surrendered within an hour, Kyleth said. They released all prisoners and abandoned their base. Word spread quickly through criminal networks. Human ships are rarely attacked now. Elder Thelam spoke up with his wind-like voice. These stories have reached the Galactic Council, he said. We have been debating what to do about humans. Morrison felt alarm. What do you mean? Some council members are afraid, Thelam explained. They think humans are too dangerous for civilized space. Amy looked shocked. We follow all galactic laws. We have not attacked any peaceful species. That is not the concern, Thelam said. The concern is what you represent. He moved closer with his tree-like body, his many eyes focused on the humans. For thousands of years, galactic warfare has followed certain rules, he said. Battles are fought until one side gains advantage. Then negotiations begin. Honor is maintained. Casualties are minimized. Morrison nodded. That sounded reasonable. Humans fight total war, Thelam continued. You commit everything to each battle. You accept any cost to achieve victory. This terrifies other species. Kyleth activated another hologram. This one showed a conference room full of alien officials. Last month the council held emergency sessions, she said. The topic was human military involvement in galactic conflicts. Morrison felt cold. What was decided? Nothing yet, Kyleth replied. But proposals have been made. Some want to limit human military operations. Others want to ban humans from certain sectors entirely. Vextar slammed his drink on the table. Idiots. They do not understand. Understand what? Lisa asked. Humans are not the problem, Vextar said angrily. Humans are the solution to a problem we did not know we had. Morrison frowned. What problem? Vextar stood up and began pacing. For centuries, wars in our galaxy have been polite affairs, he said. Nobody really wins or loses. Conflicts drag on for years. Millions die slowly while diplomats argue. He stopped and faced the humans. Then you arrive and end rebellions in weeks instead of years. You stop pirate attacks completely. You solve problems that we could not solve in decades. Korvac nodded his big head. He is right. The Kepler rebellion had been going on for 2 years before humans arrived. 2 years of fighting with no end in sight. But you ended it in 3 weeks, Silara added. 3 weeks and the problem was solved forever. General Kyleth looked thoughtful. That is true. Conflicts involving human forces end quickly and decisively. Because we fight to win, Morrison said simply. Not to make a point or show strength. We fight to end the fighting. Elder Thelam's branches rustled. And that is exactly what frightens the Council. You represent a new kind of warfare, one that actually works. A soft chime sounded on Morrison's wrist communicator. He looked down to see an urgent message from Earth Command. His face went pale as he read it. Captain, Amy asked. What is wrong? Morrison looked around the table at all the alien faces, watching him. He made a decision. I just received classified information, he said. But I think you all need to hear this. He activated his communicator's speaker. A woman's voice filled the bar. Captain Morrison, this is Admiral Sarah Blake from Earth Command. You are ordered to return to base immediately for emergency briefing. The Galactic Council has made a formal request regarding human military operations. The message ended. The bar was completely silent. Vextar sat down heavily. It has begun. What has begun? Tony asked. General Kyleth answered. The Council vote. They are deciding humanity's future in galactic civilization. Morrison felt sick. What are our options? 3 proposals are being discussed, Kyleth said. First, humans could be banned from all military operations outside Earth's solar system. Amy looked shocked. That would isolate us completely. Second, Kyleth continued, humans could be restricted to defensive operations only. No offensive missions anywhere in the galaxy. Morrison shook his head. That would make us useless as allies. What is the third option? Lisa asked quietly. Kyleth was silent for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. Complete integration. Humans would train other species in your combat methods. Your tactics would become standard throughout the galaxy. Elder Thelam made a sound like wind through dead leaves. That option terrifies many council members most of all. Morrison did not understand. Why? If our methods work better, why not use them? Vextar laughed, but there was no humor in it. Because once you change how a species fights, you change who they are. Korvac nodded his massive head. My people have been warriors for 10,000 years, but we fight with honor codes, rules that limit how far we will go. Human combat methods have no such limits, Silara added. You fight until the enemy surrenders or dies. Nothing else matters. Morrison felt defensive. We are not monsters. We follow laws of war. Do you? Elder Thilam asked. At Crimson Ridge, your Major Collins ordered wounded soldiers to keep fighting. In most species, wounded warriors are removed from battle immediately. At the pirate base, Kyleth added, Commander Tyler was willing to sacrifice captured humans to complete his mission. Most species would never make that choice. Morrison realized these aliens were right. Humans did make choices that other species found disturbing. But our methods work, he said. Conflicts end faster. Fewer people die overall. That is the problem, Vextar said. Your methods work too well. A new alien approached their table. Morrison had never seen this species before. It looked like a giant butterfly with crystal wings and multiple heads. I am Zarthis, the creature said in a voice like singing crystals. I represent the Ethereal Collective. We have been monitoring this conversation. Morrison tensed. The Ethereal Collective was one of the most powerful groups in the galaxy. My people have lived for millions of years, Zarthis continued. We have seen many species rise and fall. We have learned to recognize certain patterns. The alien's crystal wings shimmered as it spoke. Humans display the characteristics of what we call an apex predator species. You evolved to hunt other creatures to extinction. This instinct carries over into your warfare. Amy frowned. What does that mean? Most galactic species evolved as prey animals, herd creatures, or opportunistic feeders, Zarthis explained. When they fight, part of their mind always considers retreat or submission. Morrison was beginning to understand. Humans evolved as persistence hunters, Zarthis continued. You chased prey across vast distances until it collapsed from exhaustion. You never gave up, never stopped, never showed mercy. The alien's multiple heads all looked at Morrison. This hunting instinct has become your approach to war. You pursue enemies until they are completely defeated. You do not stop when they ask for mercy. You stop only when they can no longer resist. Vexitar leaned forward. Is that why human soldiers sing during battle? I have heard reports of this. Tony laughed. Some do. It helps keep morale up during long fights. To us, it sounds like predators celebrating a hunt, Silara said quietly. Morrison felt a chill. He had never thought about human behavior from an alien perspective before. The Council fears what will happen if other species adopt human methods, Zarthis said. Wars that currently last years might be decided in days, but the psychological cost could destroy civilized society. General Kyleth activated her holographic device again. This time it showed casualty statistics. Conflicts involving humans have 90% fewer total casualties, she said. But enemy psychological trauma rates are 300% higher. Morrison studied the numbers. What does that mean? It means that while fewer aliens die fighting humans, more of them suffer permanent mental damage, Kyleth explained. The experience of facing human warriors breaks something in their minds. Korvac's four hands clenched into fists. I still have nightmares about Kepler Station. Not because of what humans did to the rebels, because of how happy your soldiers looked while doing it. Morrison remembered Tony's comment about things getting fun when the fighting started. To humans, that was normal soldier talk. To aliens, it sounded like madness. So what happens now? Amy asked. Zarthis folded its crystal wings. The Council will vote tomorrow. Earth's representatives have been informed. And if they vote to restrict us, Lisa asked, then humanity will face a choice, Elder Thilam said. Accept limitations and remain part of galactic civilization, or reject the restrictions and face isolation. Vextar stood up suddenly. There is a fourth option. Everyone looked at him. Humans could leave the settled galaxy entirely, he said. Explore beyond the frontier. Find your own path among the stars. Morrison felt a strange pull at that idea. Humans had always been explorers. But then we would lose everything we have built here, Amy said. All our alliances, our trade agreements, our place in the galaxy. Perhaps, Zarthus said. Or perhaps you would find something better. Something worthy of your unique nature. Morrison looked around the table at all these alien faces, warriors from a dozen different species, all united by their fear of human combat methods. You are all afraid of us, he said. It was not a question. Yes, Vextar said simply. We are terrified of you. Not because you are evil or cruel, because you are too good at war. Morrison stood up. His crew followed his lead. Thank you for your honesty, he said to the assembled aliens. At least now we understand what we are facing. As they walked toward the exit, Elder Thelom called out, Captain Morrison, whatever the Council decides, remember this. You are not wrong to be what you are. You are simply different. Morrison nodded and led his team out of the bar. Behind them, the alien soldiers continued talking in hushed voices about the humans who had changed everything. Outside in the corridor, Amy asked the question they were all thinking. What do we do now, Captain? Morrison looked out at the stars through a nearby window. Somewhere out there beyond the frontier lay unexplored regions where humans could be themselves without frightening anyone. We go home, he said, and we prepare for whatever comes next.